Hi, ArcFieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday morning, March the 31st. A lot to talk about this morning. We had, first of all, a fascinating backdoor cold frontal passage during the past weekend, and we'll talk about that initially here in this morning's video discussion. Then we'll focus in on a severe weather threat for later today into tonight in the eastern states. The frontal system that will be the culprit produced some severe weather yesterday out in the nation's midsection. We'll also talk about the strong likelihood for additional cold air outbreaks into the central and eastern states as we go through the month of April. We've talked at length about a very impressive stratospheric warming event that really got underway during the latter part of February, and its impact is coming 30 to 45 days later here in the upcoming month of April. We will have additional cold air outbreaks, and with additional cold air outbreaks, that means we have additional severe weather threats, including the possibility of another one just later this week, Wednesday, Thursday time frame. We'll talk about that as well. First of all, let's kind of just recap this backdoor cold front in the northeastern states during the past week, and we've talked about how this time of the year, especially the latter part of March into April, you can have a backdoor cold frontal situation where the front actually moves from the northeast to the southwest. It kind of sneaks in through the back door. The more conventional frontal system, of course, in the northeastern part of the nation moves from west to east, hence the reference to a backdoor cool front here. This time of the year, the western Atlantic Ocean still features some very cold water temperatures, so any kind of a shift in the wind to an east or northeast direction can bring about a big drop in temperatures. And we had this classic setup on Saturday where we had a continental flow of air, strong west to southwest winds in places like DC, Philadelphia, New York City, causing temperatures to skyrocket to go up to 80 degrees for the first time this season. But then the dreaded backdoor cold front developed, first impacting New England and then New York City, and ultimately brought some cooling into the Philadelphia metro region on Sunday as well, but nothing like as dramatic as what took place in New York City. We'll talk about that here over the next couple of minutes. So this is the actual temperature during the latter part of the afternoon on Saturday, and we've talked about the impact on the early season baseball games with these additional cold air outbreaks causing a lot of cold weather early season games. But on Saturday, it was 80 degrees. The wind was blowing out. Yankee Stadium, they ended up hitting 9 home runs, the most ever in a single game in Yankees history. And again, the temperatures during the mid and late afternoon were 80 degrees in New York City, down across Philadelphia and in DC as well. Now, just a few hours later, take a look here, 80 degrees replaced by low to mid 40s in New York City. In fact, it turned out to be the biggest drop in temperatures ever recorded at Central Park in an hour, and also in a 3-hour period. In a 1-hour period, the temperature dropped 26 degrees with the passage of this backdoor cold front in Central Park, New York. Again, they were near 80 degrees. And then next thing you know, it's back to winter in the low to mid 40s here by the time we got to the middle part of the evening. So a dramatic drop in temperatures, and that backdoor cool front pushed farther and farther to the south and west. Again, bringing much chillier conditions to eastern Pennsylvania by the time we got to Saturday night and Sunday. So again, during the day, there was that continental flow of air, southwest to west winds, and once that frontal system passed, the winds became east to northeast, and very cold water still exists over the western Atlantic, and that causes dramatic temperature shift during the past weekend. Well, let's get back to discussing the continental U.S., and we did have a severe weather outbreak on Sunday, and this is the location, basically the Midwest, the middle Mississippi Valley region, all the way down into some of the Gulf states, primarily in the form of damaging wind gusts. That is shown in this particular map from NOAA in blue here. The green represents hail reports, a substantial number of hail reports, a substantial number of damaging wind gusts, and a few isolated tornadoes. The red right here, for example, in western Michigan, a couple of reds down here in the middle Mississippi Valley region, and there were 4 tornadoes reported with this severe weather outbreak on Sunday. And again, we've talked about the strong likelihood of severe weather outbreaks as long as we keep getting these cold air masses from Canada into the central and eastern U.S. And indeed, this pattern will repeat for the next few weeks with these additional cold air outbreaks coming into the U.S. from Canada. That severe weather threat yesterday across the Midwest, the middle Mississippi Valley region, shifts to the east with the strong cold front today, and indeed NOAA has put out some probability of severe weather throughout the eastern states, enhanced risk down across much of the Carolinas and southeastern states. This could result in a strong to severe thunderstorm in places like D.C., Philadelphia, even New York City later today into tonight. Generally, the time frame for the I-95 corridor region, let's say 3 p.m. all the way out to 9 or 10 p.m. and 3 p.m. to 9 or 10 p.m. And again, that could include some strong to severe thunderstorm activity with the most likely risk damaging wind gusts, though there can certainly be an isolated tornado or two in the Mid-Atlantic region. A better chance of severe weather down across the Carolinas and the southeast U.S. later today. Now, we've talked about a continuation of this pattern with these cold air outbreaks and leading to more severe weather. We just go out another day or two, and here we go into the day on Tuesday, and right away we get another increasing chance of severe weather with that clash setting up on Tuesday in the middle of the nation. Go to the next day, and here we go on Wednesday. Quite an enhanced risk here already showing up across kind of the same region that was hit on Sunday. So here we go again. We have more severe weather to look forward to during the middle and latter part of this week. And again, the highest risk today in the eastern states. Well, speaking of those cold air outbreaks, let's take a look at last night's Zero-Z GFS model run. And first, we'll look at 850 millibar temperature anomalies. A lot of colder than normal air here across the northern plains as we end the month of March. And we'll continue to push forward here. Here is the clash zone later today into tonight. That is in the eastern states here. A strong cold frontal system will produce some heavy rain, some strong to severe thunderstorms later today, early tonight, and that includes the big cities of D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. Then we go into the day on Tuesday. That colder than normal air mass pushes across the Great Lakes into the Mid-Atlantic region, into the northeastern states, and right away we see another clash setting up out here in the middle part of the nation with colder than normal air out across the western states by late tomorrow night, warmer than normal out across the southeastern states. And here we go into the day on Wednesday. Again, clash setting up here in the middle part of the nation. We have a repeat performance with the chance of severe weather really reestablishing tomorrow in the middle of the nation, but really kind of reaches a peak out across the Mississippi Valley region, maybe even the Midwest on Wednesday into Thursday, and we'll continue to move forward here. There will be a surge of temperatures in the eastern states on Thursday, rising all the way up well into the 70s in places like Philadelphia and even New York City, and maybe 80 degrees in D.C. on Thursday, ahead of that next strong cold front. And here we go on Thursday. You see a lot of colder than normal air out across the western part of the nation and warmer than normal in the east. Now we'll continue to push forward here. We'll see more cold air outbreaks right here in the central part of the nation here by the upcoming weekend. More in the way of colder than normal conditions dropping into the northern plains here, the central plains during the latter part of the upcoming weekend. That all slides into the east. And look at this, by next Tuesday, this is a week from tomorrow, this is quite an impressive departure from normal out across the eastern states. Again, this was suggested by that stratospheric warming event. Several videos ago we talked about similar kind of stratospheric warming events at this time of the year, latter part of March. Those that began during the latter part of February resulted almost universally in those three cases with colder than normal conditions across the nation. And indeed, this is looking like many cold air outbreaks over the next few weeks in the central and eastern states. That will lead to a lot of cold weather baseball games. We talked about that as well. Early season baseball games, a lot of cold weather conditions. And that, by the way, includes across Denver, for example. Denver will have a lot of cold weather to deal with, and even some snow that obviously can cause some postponements. But a place like Chicago, Detroit, New York City, Boston, even Philadelphia certainly can be dealing with some very cold weather early season games here over the next few weeks. Now we'll move into the middle part of next week. This is all the way out to the middle part of next week, April the 9th, a large area of below normal conditions out across the eastern half of the nation. Meanwhile, warmer than normal conditions across much of the western states. Now let's take a look at the vorticity field. This is where there is some rotation in the upper part of the atmosphere, usually associated with an upper level jet streak. And here we begin the day on Monday with some vorticity here over the Great Lakes, but we'll see as we go later in the day, right here, kind of a trough here in the upper part of the atmosphere, right in this region right here, associated with some vorticity. And that will enhance the upward motion out ahead of it, right here across the I-95 corridor region, really going all the way down through the eastern states here with that upper level support here. Watch out for the possibility of strong to severe thunderstorms later today into tonight in much of the eastern states. Here we go into the late night hours, and then finally into the day on Tuesday. And talked about here a kind of repeat performance already getting set up here on Tuesday out in the middle part of the nation, with the possibility of some severe weather associated with this next vorticity maxima here. And we go into the day on Wednesday morning right here, and we have a kind of an impressive looking upper level low with a lot of upward motion right in this part of the country here, the Midwest, the Mississippi Valley region. Watch out for more severe weather during the afternoon and evening hours on Wednesday, and that could last all the way into Thursday. And then that threat will shift all the way into the eastern states by later Thursday night time frame. Now let's walk through the 500 millibar height anomaly forecast maps, again using the 0Z run of the GFS. And first of all, notice here lots of upper level lows, lots of upper level ridges, an active weather pattern over the next few weeks. One that will include numerous cold air outbreaks, and one that will include numerous severe weather threats here. We go into the latter part of today and then into tonight, and we have this vigorous upper level low sliding across the Rocky Mountain states, and that again will set up a battle zone region, first of all on Tuesday right in this area, then that shifts to the Midwest and Mississippi Valley region on Wednesday. Continue to push forward here, and we have this clash right here with a strong ridge to the east, warmer conditions off to the east, strong upper level lows to the west, colder conditions to the west, and that battle zone region. Watch for an enhanced risk of severe weather right in this area here later Wednesday into Wednesday night. Continue to move forward here. Again, a lot of blues, a lot of oranges on the table here. An active weather pattern or a big clash zone here. Strong upper level ridge at this particular time at the end of this work week here. Strong upper level low off to the Baja California region. And we go into next week. This is when we get that cold air outbreak moving into the Great Lakes and the northeastern states. And no coincidence here, at the upper levels here we have a very impressive looking upper level low here by the time we get to about a week from right now, the early part of next week. This happens to be late next Monday, April the 7th, and we'll move forward in time. Very impressive indeed. This looks like a well below normal temperature kind of a pattern here for the early part of next week across the Great Lakes, the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast U.S., and a strong upper level ridge over southwestern Canada, another upper level low over the southwestern U.S. Go out a little bit farther in time, and this kind of spins around, rotates around here, leading to a cold stretch of weather, colder than normal, again in this part of the nation during the early and middle part of next week. And again, those cold air outbreaks will continue for the next few weeks. Well, let's wrap up with the surface forecast maps. Again, we have this strong cold frontal system starting off the day right in this area right here. This is the same front that helped to produce some severe weather yesterday out across the Mississippi Valley, the Midwest. It's losing a little bit of punch, certainly, but it still can produce some strong to severe thunderstorms later today, early tonight in the eastern states, especially the Carolinas down to let's say northern Florida here later today into tonight. And some of this rain that breaks out later on in the day into tonight can certainly be heavy at times, even in the I-95 corridor region, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, again with that chance of a strong to severe thunderstorm. Then pulls off the eastern seaboard by Tuesday, colder than normal conditions, much colder than today. For example, Philadelphia maybe mid to upper 50s tomorrow. Some 20 degrees cooler than it will be this afternoon. And right here we already start to see this pattern setting up here with a warm, more humid influx of air pumping back into the middle part of the nation on Tuesday afternoon. And again, a lot of colder air off to the west, setting up that battle zone region here on Tuesday in the middle of the nation, and then on Wednesday the Midwest, the Mississippi Valley region. Here we go into Wednesday, and this is the area to watch out for, maybe the middle Mississippi Valley extending all the way up into the Midwest. Even the Ohio Valley can get in on some of the action by Wednesday night. This is impressive looking at this particular stage. This is later on Wednesday night. Again, the middle Mississippi Valley region, the Midwest, the Ohio Valley can get in on some of that severe weather activity. Then we go into the day on Thursday, and this is when there'll be a surge of temperatures in the eastern states, maybe the 50s to near 60 on Wednesday, places like D.C., Philadelphia, and then well up in the 70s on Thursday, out ahead of that next strong cold front. Again, this is the area of concern here for the possibility of some severe weather. Now, move forward here, and that next front slides closer to the eastern states by the time we get to Thursday night into the day on Friday. And it stays very active. Here we go into Saturday. Another severe weather possibility here in this part of the nation. Again, we have that cold air influx into the southwestern states with a warm, humid air pumping up from the Gulf, setting up another battle zone and a lot of cold air up in this part of the nation. A very active pattern. There will be surges of warmth and cold air outbreaks as well. Here we go into the latter part of Saturday into Sunday, and a strong cold frontal system slides east across the Ohio Valley, going all the way into the eastern states by the time we get to early next week. Now, this is when that really chilly air mass right here, or C for cold here, moving south and east behind this frontal system here by the time we get to a week from right now. This is next Monday, April the 12th, and certainly looks like, excuse me, a cold air mass headed right into this part of the nation during the early part of next week. So a lot going on here. Additional cold air outbreaks over the next few weeks into the central and eastern states. Again, partly as a result of that stratospheric warming event that got underway in February. And with the additional cold air outbreaks comes additional severe weather threats. One exists later on today into tonight across much of the east, and kind of atmosphere reloads in the middle of the nation tomorrow, and an enhanced risk of severe weather later Wednesday night, Mississippi Valley, Midwest, even the Ohio Valley by the time we get to late Wednesday night into the day on Thursday. That's it for now. For ArcFieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.